We're live.
Good evening. I would like to call the August combined work and voting session meeting to order. If you'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right ahead. Over here behind her.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice
justice for all.
Colleen, please call roll.
Mr. Ambrose,
Present.
Ms. Belcastro,
Here.
Mr. Bloom,
Here.
Mr. King,
Here.
Mr. Moad,
Here.
Mr. O'Neill,
Here.
Mr. Ross,
Here.
Dr. Eunice,
Here.
Mr. Zaritsky.
Here. Okay, as we get started at our second virtual meeting, I do want to just reiterate a couple things. We are all social distance in here for the benefit of everybody in the room and the public that's viewing. When you are speaking, when you're called to speak, I do ask that you lower your mask. I did talk to Pete. It is acceptable. It is permitted. And it helps the clarity and so that everybody understands what's going on. With that, I do want to turn it over to Pete for some comments on the public comment items that are coming in and how the process is going to work. Pete?
Sure. Thank you, George. For those of you who are watching tonight and we're at our last virtual meeting, we're going to do something very similar in taking public comment. We have received several questions and comments via email prior to the meeting, which I will review during the public comment period. We're also going to be taking comment live through a form that should be on the website. Once that information is submitted, I'll see it here on this computer, and I see the first one. Okay, so that's working. So we'll address those as they come in during the public comment period. At some point when we get down there, we will set a time to stop reading the form will be open for the entire meeting, and comments addressed after the meeting over the next few days, as we can get to that. So we'll move through with some other items before we get to the actual public comment.
Okay. Before we hit routine items, I do also want to thank Mr. Ryan Miller and the technology department for the extra time it's taken to get everything set up, working, making sure everything is working. I know that we got some different microphones around here to help improve some of the quality of the sound coming back. I do also want to thank all the administrators and staff that have been working so hard these past couple months to get all these buildings ready and dealing with all the changes that are coming in. It almost seems day to day. So thank you. Under routine items, there was an executive session of the school board that was conducted on August 12th at 6 p.m. and then on August 19th at 6:15. And these were for discussion of personnel matters and to receive information. Under minutes, we're looking to approve the combined work and voting session minutes from the July 30th, 2020 meeting, which is found on attachment A. Looking for a motion on item 1. Mr. Ross, second, Mr. Moad. Is there any discussion on item 1? All right. Just a second here. Sorry. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, a little technical difficulty here. Turn it over to Mr. King.
Wait, real quick, the executive session section should be August 20th.
20th.
I'm sorry. You make a note on that, Colleen. Mr. King?
The following bills and reports are submitted for approval. Pay bills. Number 1, confirm the July 2020 general fund payments in the amount of $3,178,558.52. Attachment B. Number 2, confirm the July 2020 cafeteria fund payments in the amount of $9,220.29. Attachment C. Report. Number 1, to approve the July 2020 Berkheimer report. Attachment D. I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. King. Can I get a second? Mr. Bloom? Is there any discussion on item 1? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we will now combine the public comments on agenda and general items, and I will turn it over to Pete.
Okay. I'll go through the email questions first. The first one is from Jill Banofsky, Richard Drive. Regarding the social distancing in the classroom, will I know if my child's classroom desks at Todd Lane are placed 6 feet apart prior to the first day of school? If masks are required for students to wear for the entire day in the classroom, this may alter my decision in sending my child to in-person learning. Thank you in advance for answering my question.
So in response to your question with regards to the masks are required. There was further clarification from the Department of Health that came out, I believe at the end of last week, where all students, teachers, staff, everybody will be required to wear masks. There will be the ability for mask breaks during the day, a 10-minute maximum. The other opportunities not to wear masks and or facial coverings would be eating and drinking, when it's unsafe to operate equipment. Also with athletics, outdoors, those who are actively engaged, it can stay 6 feet apart, or actively engaged in workouts or competitions, can remove the face covering at that time. As far as the classroom desk and knowing exactly whether they will all be placed 6 feet apart, I'm going to actually ask our principals to maybe just give a little clarification as to where we are with the social distancing of the 6 feet in the classrooms based on full rosters and based on any lowering of the rosters as we move forward. So I don't know if you want to start with high school and work our way down. Mr. McCreary, if you want to get to a spot where we can hear you.
Yes, all of our classrooms, based on, first off, we've capped all of our sizes at 25 students in a class. Most of our rosters, based on our survey, we don't expect to be at that number. We feel we can certainly, in rooms that we have desks, socially distance our kids up to 20, 22 students in a classroom. Our max is 25. So again, based on our survey, we don't expect that there's going to be that many students in the classroom face to face. We do have some classrooms that have tables in them. We do have plexiglass that is going to go between those tables to make sure the students are safe, and they'll also have the mask on when they can't practice exact social distance. So we're pretty comfortable that most of the time we can practice social distance in our classroom, along with all the other mitigation tactics that we're putting forth in the building, in the hallway, traffic control, those types of things.
Middle school follows a similar suit. All of our desks have been spaced out at 6 feet. We have it broken down by full roster size for each teacher during each period and their class size. There's a handful of classes that may be right at that limit of 1 or 2 people where we would be in jeopardy of jeopardizing that 20 max to a classroom with a 6 feet distance. With that being said, we ran all of our numbers from the survey, and when looking at the survey, we're talking anywhere between 35 and 50 kids out per grade level of doing the synchronous or asynchronous option. So with that being said, I don't see any problems at all once those students choose to stay home. That will be underneath that social distance, will be underneath the roster size to permit the seats as they are currently with the 6 feet social distancing in every classroom. So I'm very, very happy at the middle school.
Dr. Perry, I should add, though, there are some classes with exceptions, band, chorus, but we're going to move those into some larger rooms for social distancing purposes.
Okay. Todd Lane?
So at Todd Lane Elementary, the 4th and 5th grade, they can fit anywhere from 22 to 24 desks in there. Our largest roster is 24, but that's before we took any cyber students off. So we'll be readjusting rosters if need be. In the 3rd grade, we can fit 19. The largest roster is 21, but we do have approximately 4 to 5 overflow areas where we'll be able to move classes if all the students came on somebody's roster and they were not able to appropriately social distance.
So when we say roster size, my largest roster size is 21, or my largest roster size is this, that's with the assumption that every student was coming back to school.
100%.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Civic Center Grange,
We have capped, or we have the most students in first and second grade, maybe 21 and 22. We have moved all the desks 6 feet apart. They have been socially distanced, but we can only fit 16 in those first and second grade classrooms. But thinking of how the students are going to be coming in less numbers, we're comfortable that we can fit all of the students that will be there on a day-to-day basis. In kindergarten, we do have tables, not desks. We have distanced those students. The tables are 6 feet apart, and we also have plexiglass to go in between the students in kindergarten.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cohn?
Yes.
This question is from Stephanie Sircone. I would like to know, with all the positive cases within the district right now and the survey results being 92% of kids could possibly be in school at one time, how is it going to be safe for us to send our kids to school? Where our numbers are right now, the community spread is substantial, which at that level, full remote learning is recommended. Is this being considered at this time? When will we know if it is? Thank you for your efforts in making the best decisions for our kids and teachers.
So with the response to the survey results of 92% could be in the school at one time, based on the survey that we put out, 41% of the families said that they would potentially come traditional. 36% said that they would do a combo between synchronous and in-face instruction, which comes to 77%. The remaining 23% said they would either be full online academy or would go full synchronous. Obviously, those could change, but that's the indication as to where we are, which would take our population, if every one of those synchronous students who said they were going to go back and forth came on any single day. So that would be 77% versus the 92. We don't expect that we're going to get 77% attendance coming back to school. As far as the community spread being substantial, I realize that there's a lot going around on social media with regards to substantial versus moderate. In speaking with the Department of Health, they verified once again that the district, the county is within the moderate level based on their criteria that they use. And the moderate would call for either cyber learning, full cyber learning, or some hybrid model. And then as far as positive cases in the district, when a case of COVID-19 is identified in a school setting, the public health department, we work with the public health department. They provide us guidance related to cleaning, disinfecting, contact tracing, quarantining, recommendations, and whether or not areas of the school need to be closed and or cleaned, and that, we are to work with them. We're following their recommendations with regards to notification of people and trying to also maintain the confidentiality of affected individuals. I will tell you, there's a lot of rumor out there about cases. There have been some cases. I will tell you this, we will continue to work with the Department of Health. The Department of Health will help to direct us as to what to do. And I will tell you that anybody that has been affected to this point, that the district's been aware of, the district has contacted the appropriate people. So it is not accurate that the district has not informed folks if indeed there have been cases. But no, we have not informed the entire community. We're informing the appropriate people based on the recommendations that come from the Department of Health.
Pete, before you go on, just the people that are putting comments in online, we do ask that you do have your full name and address for the record with your comments, just so that we make sure that we get back and that we're following suit with how this would be if people would come in here and speak publicly. Go ahead, Pete.
This email was from Amber Maruli, 125 Poplar Avenue, Monaca. I have been keeping up to date and reading the information that has been released through the school district's website. I wanted to make a comment about the parent survey results. I appreciate that the results were quickly uploaded and disseminated to the parents. However, I feel that the format that they are in is not particularly helpful. You have given us the results for the entire school population. I'm assuming that depending on the grade level of the child, the parent responses may change. I think that the results should be given to the parents based on grade level so they are able to make a more informed decision. With my son entering an elementary grade level, I may see more parents preferring traditional instruction, which may change my opinion on if I feel it is safe for him to return. It's noted that every attempt will be made to keep class sizes less than 25, but truly, if you are going to encourage social distancing, class sizes need to be much smaller. Also, I feel like there's a lack of guidance for those parents interested in the hybrid method of learning. If there isn't some guidance on which days you should send your child to school, then you may not actually decrease the size of classes if most parents choose to send their children on the same day. If some guidance was given to these parents who would like to pursue synchronous online learning plus in-person teaching a couple days a week, then you could theoretically maintain lower class sizes while still offering the traditional teaching option for some children.
Thank you. As far as the parent survey results, we put them out like we did because we didn't want to create confusion with regards to the survey results. I will tell you this, that the responses that came back across the board were relatively equal. So the number of people that responded per grade level, you know, if there were 100 and let's say 50 in the classes across the board all the way down, you know, we got 100 responses, 100 responses, 100 responses, not on the nose, but relatively close, that the number of respondents for each grade level was very similar and reflective, I would say, of the entire grade level. So we probably got about 80% respondents, anywhere from high 70s to low 80s for every grade level, working your way down from K to 12. And the responses were very similar and reflective by grade level and by building to the overall results that were put out there, with the number of students that potentially were going to come face-to-face, with the number of students that potentially were going to come between synchronous and face-to-face, as well as the ones who said that they were just going to do synchronous and or the online academy. I would say don't hesitate to contact, you know, your principal if you have any specific questions about you know, the grade and or the results of the survey. But I would say they were very, very similar and very equally distributed across the grade levels, across the buildings. And the overall sentiment was the percentages that were put out there for the folks who thought that they may be sending kids face-to-face and or sending them potentially virtually some days, all virtual or all online academy. And as far as the attempt to keep the numbers less, we believe that we provided a hybrid model that gives the parents choices. We believe we provided a hybrid model that allows parents flexibility with regards to, you know, childcare and whatever their issues are from home, as well as providing parents the flexibility to whether they feel comfortable or not feel comfortable sending their children to school.
Emails from Craig Vallant, 100 James Lane, Monaca. According to the PA Department of Education instruction model guidelines posted on August 10th and the posted levels of community spread of COVID-19 from the PA Department of Health for Beaver County, moderate spread, the guidelines state that only blended hybrid or full remote instruction methods are recommended for Beaver County. The PA Department of Education defines blended hybrid as any model in which the number of students in a school building is reduced to allow for social distancing of 6 feet. Because the current method of instruction in the Central Valley School District reopening plan does not guarantee 6-foot social distancing, if possible, is listed numerous times in the plan when speaking to social distancing, it would not qualify as a blended or hybrid model as defined by the state, especially as there is no way of knowing how many children will attend day to day. Do you intend to follow these guidelines and move to a hybrid type model in which social distancing can be guaranteed? If not, why?
So with regards to the moderate spread and the guidelines from the Department of Education defining a blended hybrid model as one in which the number of students in a school building is reduced to allow for social distancing of 6 feet, we do feel that we have provided a hybrid model that will allow for that to happen. Also, in the guidelines from the department, it says that that hybrid model can be accomplished in many ways, including split schedules, schedules that rotate by day or week, or similar approaches. For these recommendations, blended learning also includes scaffold approaches that grade levels in a differentiated manner. So we do feel that we are within the guidance that was provided by the Department of Ed for a hybrid model of instruction that will reduce the number of students that are coming into the building each day and, provide more of an opportunity for social distancing.
Okay. This email comes from Patricia Weidinger, 126 Patton Drive, Aliquippa. 4 questions. Why is Central Valley choosing not to inform community members of positive cases of students and staff? Other districts are being transparent. 2, how is the district specifically spending the money they receive from the CARES Act fund to make schools and classrooms safer? $263,369. Number 3, what is the cost of the cameras that were installed in the classrooms? Number 4, community spread was substantial red in Central Valley during the most recent 7-day reporting period, according to the PA Department of Education model guidance chart. This model recommends Central Valley operate under a full remote learning model. Will the district be moving to the fully remote model of instruction for the safety of its students, staff, and community?
So I'll take these one at a time. As far as Central Valley choosing not to inform community members of positive cases of students or staff, the district has and will continue to work with the Department of Health with regards to positive cases and notification to any staff or students that we should receive notification regarding COVID-19 contact. And we'll do the best we can to make sure that we're being prudent in protecting the identity of affected people. As far as the CARES Act fund money, the $263,369. So we are eligible for that money. That money has been earmarked towards items that we are allowed to spend CARES money on. There are several categories in which we can spend CARES money that tie into distance learning, that tie into making sure that the schools have the proper PPE, so on and so forth, for each of the buildings. And the things that we earmarked that money towards were face masks, disinfectant, hand soaps, isolation gowns, handheld sprayers, disinfectant and sprayers, wipes, nursing, medical, and sanitizing supplies, COVID echo bottles, drinking fountain lockout kits, Try Clean 500 UV filters, shield protectors for the teachers' desks, student desks, also acrylic dividers for each of the cafeteria tables. We also put money towards the audio and sound equipment for distance learning related to that as well. And as far as, so that's where the money for the $263,000 of the CARES fund is going to be spent. The cost of the cameras that were installed in the classroom, that was $216,605.37. That money there is going to be taken from a PCCD grant from the state, which is a safety grant, of which we were eligible for $210,000 to cover most of the cost of those cameras. Looking at number 4 with the community spread being substantial in red, that is not accurate according to the Department of Health and the Department of Education. I am aware of the information going around social media with regards to substantial. In speaking with the Department of Health and specifically asking that question about what's been going around social media, I was informed by the Department of Health in Harrisburg that the school district should focus on statistics that are provided by the Pennsylvania Department of Health, which is also approved by the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So that's where those recommendations come from, and that's what the district will continue to work with in working with the Department of Health and the Department of Education.
Okay. Next email is from Rebecca Armitat, address 100 Tiger Lily Drive, Aliquippa. A few questions. What is the preliminary breakdown of instructional pathway options chosen in the middle school by grade and team? How is it possible to plan for social distancing when the teachers don't know who is going to be in the building each day? Why not just start with a hybrid plan so the school knows how many children will attend each day and can plan accordingly? The latest information from the state says that students must be spaced 6 feet apart to remove masks to eat. Is this spacing possible in the Central Valley cafeterias, especially if the number of students attending each day is unknown? Will other spaces be used for lunch? What happens if our home Comcast internet goes out? This happens frequently during synchronous class. Our class is going to be recorded and made available for later viewing. What is the notification plan for when a student or teacher tests positive for COVID? I understand that the Department of Health will do contact tracing, but beyond that, will all parents be notified that there are positive cases in the school community? This information will go a long way in helping parents to decide whether to send their children to school on any given day.
Okay, so with regards to the question about preliminary breakdown of instructional pathway options chosen by middle school grade and team, I'm not sure if you're asking about the survey and how that survey's been broken out. I don't know, middle school folks, if you want to speak to that.
Yes, we've actually taken our survey results and have broken it down from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. When you're looking at the asynchronous amount for 6th grade, around 18 students, 7th grade, around 10 students, 8th grade, around 15 students that have chosen our online cyber academy. For the amount of families that have opted for the synchronous live virtual learning from home, 6th grade, you're looking between 30, 35, 7th grade around 30, 8th grade around 20. So when you do the combination of those participating in our online academy and those doing the synchronous virtual learning from home, 6th grade, you're looking at 51 kids right now that will not step foot into school. 7th grade, a little over 35, and 8th grade, a little over 35, which is a total of 123 kids compared to our 542, I believe, for our total roster. So our 540 total school building is down to about 420, which is a significant amount. As mentioned, we have all of our classrooms with the desks already spaced at around 20 desks per room at that 6 feet, as well as we have those spillover classes. If for by some chance everybody decides to show up one day, we do have rooms that we can move to. So as mentioned earlier, we feel pretty confident in the middle school to get the job done.
Possible to plan such that, I think as far as the hybrid plan goes, how many children will attend each day and plan accordingly. I feel that, we have provided a hybrid plan that, gives parents the choice to decide what they want to do with regards to their needs. As far as planning accordingly, I think that we're prepared for whatever number of students come in. The latest with regards to removing masks to eat, spacing possible in all the CV cafeterias. The cafeterias will be appropriately spaced for social distancing. The district went ahead and also ordered plexiglass partitions for the cafeteria tables. There are contingency plans for each of the buildings with regards to social distancing and space. Should the need for additional seating happen on any day. So there are contingency plans for each of those situations. As far as the internet going out during synchronous class is going to be recorded, made available for later viewing. We will not be recording classes as per the advice of our solicitors. If you record classes, that becomes part of a student's record. And we've been advised not to record classes. If there is an issue with internet or something goes down, and it's possible, certainly, absolutely. We're going to work with the families to make sure that we get them whatever they need with regards to anything that's missed. We'll have to work with that as it comes. And as far as notification plan for students, teacher test positive, whether or not we'll be notifying all the parents. I hate to be repetitive, but we're going to continue to work with the Department of Health and follow their guidance with regards to notifying the appropriate people. We certainly have nothing to hide, but we're going to make sure that the appropriate people are notified. And if there's any issue with contact for a staff or a student, they're going to be notified.
Last is a statement from Tracy Whipke, President of the Central Valley Education Association. Beginning the new school year in a pandemic is causing apprehension for many teachers, parents, and students. After reviewing the district's return to school health and safety plan, an overwhelming majority of teachers have expressed concern over deficiencies in the plan related to social distancing and confirmation of COVID cases. Teachers fear that by not addressing these two specific issues, there is no way to ensure a safe and healthy learning environment. The district has opted for the most aggressive return to school plan, but is only committed to the bare minimum CDC recommended mitigation efforts. CVEA believes the district can and should do more, be proactive. We have already witnessed other Beaver County districts modeling transparency and keeping parents informed of positive COVID cases, and believe our district should do the same. It is imperative that the district keeps staff and parents informed of positive cases as they arise. Being proactive enables parents to make educated and informed decisions on education and athletic choices for their child or children. For the safety of our students and community, we encourage the district to consider an alternative return plan, as most other county districts have already done. Please also refer to the attached letter to Superintendent Perry from PSEA President Rich Askey to seek specific recommendations for social distancing and quarantine protocols. I will note that there is a letter from PSEA in here that was received by the district. Dr. Perry, you might have a.
Yeah, so I want to thank, Tracy for her statement with regards to the concerns of the staff. The administration feels that we've done, everything possible to address the concerns of the staff. And with regards to the letter from Rich, I believe it's Askew, from Rich Askey, I'm sorry, from PSEA. I believe that, that letter just verifies that, we've addressed the things that, are a concern of PSEA and the PSEA Teachers Union from not only Central Valley, but across the state, specifically asking us to make sure that we're addressing social distancing, that we're addressing sanitizing, that we're addressing the enforcement of face coverings, so on and so forth. So I think that letter helps to verify that, yes, indeed, we've addressed, at least they're addressing those concerns.
Okay, those are the only email comments. We have some comments that have been submitted during the meeting. I see it is 7:32 right now. I would anticipate it taking at least 10 minutes, if not more, to get through these comments and questions here. So for everyone watching and participating and submitting questions in the form here, we're going to do a cutoff at 7:45. Anything time stamped after that will be addressed by the district later, but I'm going to stop reading when comments and emails come in after, or questions come in at 7:45.
I also want to make a comment before the people that pre-emailed. I appreciate, the work from the administration, getting those answers prepared so that we're able to deliver them tonight. There is a possibility that some of the questions that are coming in online that we may not have the answers for. And we would rather take the approach of giving you the right, accurate information as opposed to anything else. So there may be things that we cannot answer tonight, and that we will do the same as we did prior and post the questions and all the responses to the district website.
Okay, we'll begin. First comes from Kay Smith, and I saw she put her address down here, 102 Evergreen Drive, Aliquippa. What do you plan to do about all the paraprofessionals that quit? How are kids with IEPs going to get the appropriate help?
So in speaking with Mrs. Park and talking about our paraprofessionals and what we need to do with regards to kids and IEPs, she feels we have the appropriate staff in place. I know that she had a meeting with her paraprofessionals tonight. I don't know that it's a fair statement to say that they've all quit. We certainly have turnover in paraprofessionals. We have turnovers in the cafeteria, turnovers with custodial staff. We have turnovers with teaching staff. If you want to further add to that, Mrs. Park, please come up and speak as well. Mrs. Park's our special ed director.
So we have posted any paraprofessional openings that we have for hire. We're also working with Kelly Services to contract year-long paraprofessional subs to cover potential illnesses throughout the school year. We're trying to be prepared for needs that might arise. We already have a few subs scheduled and contracted to start on the first day of school. I've been able to manipulate current paraprofessional schedules for various reasons. We've had some paraprofessionals who work with students who are one-on-one that have left the district. So with that's been able to free up their schedules a little bit. We also may be using professional staff to work with students. We're going to do everything possible to implement our IEPs as they're currently written. We have a fantastic team of special education teachers, paraprofessionals. They're going to continue as they have in the past to work diligently with all of our students who have those IEPs. But if there is a concern that would arise for any reason with the district's ability to be able to implement a student's IEP, I will certainly contact that parent. We'll reconvene the IEP team and we would discuss those concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question is also from Kay Smith. Why don't you push the start date back to after Labor Day instead of rushing to get everything ready?
I don't feel that we're rushing to get things ready. I think we're ready to go. Our administrative staff has worked diligently, tirelessly over the last month, preparing for the return to school. I don't even say over the last month, going back to the end of the school year in June. But I feel that we're ready to go. I think they feel they're ready to go. We are prepared for the teachers to come on Monday. We have professional development plan. We have plenty of time for our teaching staff to set up their classrooms, their synchronous classrooms, and get their rosters ready to go and push out what other information needs to go out to the parents and the students. And we'll be ready for Monday.
Next question comes from Stacy in Aliquippa, no street address given. When will Center Grange post their building plan? It is almost a week until school, and the principal said it would help answer questions to help make decisions. That isn't giving parents much time to make a decision.
So all of the buildings put out their building plans today. They were posted on the websites and they were actually mailed home to the families. Carla, with regards to Center Grange, did you get her up on a website yet? So Center Grange's is also on the website, and what's on the website also will be mailed home. And there's other mailings coming home as well that were sent out over, I think maybe Wednesday, that were sent out that are coming. So that's pretty typical for the timeline of when things get kind of pushed out.
Next comes from Andy Goss, 3679 Broadhead Road. Can you please explain why you are holding board meetings virtually to maintain social distancing? Classes will be held face-to-face when social distancing cannot be maintained. How is this promoting the safety of students and staff?
So with regards to the virtual board meetings, that's completely tied to the governor's order on the number of people that can attend indoor public meetings, which that same order does not apply to the educational setting. I don't know if you want to speak to that anymore.
Right,
and the order and how the order reads.
Yeah, and I would note that the board and administration is here with capped at 25, similar to how education is being, or at least is being attempted to be provided by the district. I believe it was Mr. McCreary before indicated that classes are being capped at 25 people per room, and attempting to maintain that guidance and the mandates from the state. Anything else? Do you want to move to the next one? Okay. Kay Smith, is it true that there have been several positive cases among the sports teams that have not been reported, namely football?
I will absolutely say that we've had positive cases in the district. With regards to what sport that may have been, I'm not going to say that. I will say that anybody that has tested positive or have been involved with any school activity that could have been tied to any school activity, those folks' parents were notified of any COVID issue within the activity that they participated in.
Next question, and everyone, for those submitting questions tonight, I know we're about 5 minutes to 7:45, so we've got about 5 minutes to get these in to have them read during the meeting. Next is Shannon Tress, 1211 Center Road. Will live classes be recorded? Asking because, say I have two children, one has a doctor's appointment and he misses a few classes due to this. That means my first grader will have to miss class 2 due to the fact that I, only parent at home, will have to leave. I understand it would be like missing in-person school, but in that case, I wouldn't have to have multiple children missing.
We will not be recording classes. The teachers and the school will work with, the parents who miss work and make sure that we get the information to the students. They get an opportunity to make it up.
Robin Wilson, Chapel Road. Why are we rushing back to school? I don't understand why we can't push it back for at least a couple weeks to make sure every necessary things are in place.
I appreciate, the fact of pushing things back. I believe that we're ready to go. Administratively, we're ready to go. We're ready to accept the teachers on Monday. We're ready to accept the students next Monday. We feel that we're prepared and ready to go.
Stacy, Aliquippa. The district obviously places value on the temperature checks because they're making teachers submit temperatures daily. Why haven't we invested in scanners to scan students' temperatures since the district believes it is too time consuming to do each individually?
In speaking with the health professionals with regards to temperature checks, it is not recommended that we do temperature checks for the entire student body, nor do they feel that it's feasible to do that, and not being recommended that we make that happen.
Kristen Milanovic, 108 Park Drive. My question is in regard to the quality and angle of the video live stream that you are currently using. Is this what we can expect for the synchronous learning? Thank you in advance.
I think we missed one.
We missed the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I'll answer this one and then we'll go
I
back.
apologize. We'll move back to that one.
As far as the quality of the video stream that we're currently using is we can expect for synchronous learning. I'm going to defer to Mr. Eimiller, who's our technology coordinator in the district. I do know that there is a difference between what we're doing here today and what happens with regards to in class, and I'll let you speak to the details of that.
Yeah, what everyone at home is watching right now is a live stream through YouTube, which is significantly lesser quality than what a video conference would be. A video conference is a direct connection between the kids at home and the teachers in the classroom. The live stream that we're doing is set up specifically so that it can be viewed by the public, open platform on a website. So it's completely different setup. Video quality much lower, sound quality much lower, even though it's still very clear. What you do through a video conference is completely different. Completely different technology, completely different equipment. That answered the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Moving back one, I apologize for missing this. Susan Miller, Center Grange. Why has the public not been informed of cases of athletes? Why are sports still practicing during COVID cases, especially inside the school with back-to-back sports in gym without being sanitized?
Let me make sure I have the right one.
I think there's a repeat in between.
I want to state again that cases that have been active here within the district have been reported. They've been reported to the appropriate people as directed by the Pennsylvania Department of Health. Any family members or student athletes that were involved in any sort of COVID issues have been informed of that. As far as sanitizing goes, we sanitize our areas after each team uses areas. And if we have protocols in place with regards to sanitizing for any positive COVID cases, whether it be with athletics or whether it be during the school year, where we have protocols in place in which we follow to do that.
Next question is Stacy Aliquippa. Why isn't the school communicating positive cases on coaches and student athletes?
The district is reporting those through the Department of Health to the people that are involved in those cases based on the guidance and recommendation of the Department of Health.
Kristen Milanovic, 108 Park Drive. Thank you for taking my question. The masks of the speakers continue to be taken down for this evening for them to speak. Will the teachers also bring their masks down to address the class? Thank you.
So the reason that we pulled the mask down today, and you said that it was appropriate with regards to the public meeting, we've provided teachers with face shields, if that helps for clarification and speaking. But the expectation would be, as per the order of the Department of Health, that all staff members, including myself, will be wearing masks throughout the day.
Stacy, Alaquippa, PA. Why won't classes be recorded so that students can make up days missed because of parent work obligations? Why will these be unexcused absences?
So an absence will be an absence, like an absence has always been an absence. We are not recording the classes, as I said before, due to concerns for student records. But the school district, as well as the teachers and the principals, will work with any of the parents and students who miss work to get made up, just as we typically would have done in a traditional setting.
And one other thing I want to mention as well, because I want to make sure that's clear here. One of the requirements that when the Department of Education permitted virtual learning to occur, one thing they specifically said was that there must be a way to track attendance, similar to just as if the student was sitting in the classroom. So in this way, and there are, we did provide guidance to the school district on FERPA issues, but the synchronous learning is not meant to be time shifted to a later time if you're unable to attend the class virtually at the normal time you would be sitting in the brick and mortar school. So I did want to make that clear as well. That is a mandate from PDE when we were allowed to do virtual learning, that there had to be a way to track attendance just as if we were under regular ed.
Thank you.
Stacy from Alaquippa. I'm told that synchronous students will not be muted, so everyone will hear dogs barking, etc. It seems to be a possible disruption of learning. This is very concerning.
So we have a guide, an etiquette guide for taking online classes, synchronous classes, that kind of lays out what the atmosphere should be in the room for the students as they prepare to take their classes. As far as the muting goes, we do have the ability to mute. The teachers do have the ability to mute not only audio, but they can mute video as well, blackout video, if there is a disruption in the class. So there is an online etiquette piece that is posted on the district website. There is an entire student parent page on the website that is a resource page that lays out all the information with regards to, synchronous online learning and what kind of things need to be done, including how to deal with the online etiquette piece.
Stacy from Alaquippa. I'm very concerned about the amount of screen time the children will have, both in person and synchronous. Why aren't screen time breaks being considered?
I do believe that there will be screen time breaks considered for the students throughout the day, to include the times that, recess goes on at lunch and those types of things. So there will be break throughout the day with regards to amount of time on screen. And I'm sure that the teaching staff will gauge what's an appropriate time for students to be taking breaks, not only for screen time, but for in-person mass breaks and things like that as the day goes on. So the teachers will certainly know how to manage their classroom with regards to that.
Angela Vallant, 100 James Lane, Monaca. How will classes be cleaned between kindergarten or between switching in high school and middle school?
So we have an entire plan in place for cleaning of all the buildings during the day, touching high touch surfaces, so on and so forth. Each of our custodians has been trained on the use of appropriate cleaning tools, cleaning methods, so on and so forth. We've also asked, we put sanitizing bucket units in the classrooms to be used by the teachers and or the students. We are going to ask the students to wipe down desks before they leave the classroom every day. As far as specifically about kindergarten, the kindergarten classes will be hit in between the AM and PM sessions. As far as the classrooms being hit in between each of the high school and middle school classrooms, I mean, that's just not, that wouldn't be physically possible for our custodial staff to hit and sanitize each room specifically. But as I said earlier, we're providing sanitizing units for each classroom where we're going to ask, the students to help and to clean their desk and things like that before they leave.
Dr. Perry, will the grouping of the students help with that also? I know, excuse me, in the high school it won't.
Say that again?
Grouping of the students to minimize how many students are switching.
Yeah, so obviously there's a natural grouping at the elementary schools with the cohorts of kids. It's a little more difficult at the high school to cohort kids because there's multiple classes that kids take. Everybody's on a different learning path with regards to what their individual schedules are. But they've done the best that they can administratively to the middle school and high school scheduling to try to keep cohorts of kids together as much as possible.
K. Smith, 102 Evergreen Drive, Aliquippa. Is it true that someone on one of the teams tested positive and it was several days before they quarantined and they practiced in the gym?
No, I mean, as far as yes, I mean, yes, it's true that we've had people that have tested, as I mentioned before. As far as, whether or not they were in the gym and before they quarantined, any of our specific situations, if anybody was on one of our facilities that was here, that was COVID positive, we certainly went through and followed our protocols for cleaning in those spaces.
You a break, Pete?
If you want to take them, go right ahead.
Here, Stacy from Aliquippa. I'm told that I will not be informed if a classmate tests positive. Why wouldn't the entire in-person classroom be informed without disclosing the student's name?
Right. So I want to be very clear that I'm not necessarily saying that an entire classroom wouldn't be notified. We'll follow the guidance of the Department of Health as to who they feel needs to be notified based on the information that's presented to them, based on the circumstances surrounding the notification of the COVID case.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We are not permitted to do that.
That is not what we do. That is correct. That is the
Okay, so
responsibility.
it's also, it's not even
Department of Health.
kicking it back that we are not permitted to do that and disclose that information.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, we are not permitted to simply, whether it's directly offering a student's name or providing enough information to allow somebody to deduce who it is. What the district is trying to do is balance the privacy rights, the medical privacy rights of every individual with the best practices for informing those who may have come in contact with a positive case as to what their next steps are and what they should be doing. And for that, we are following the guidelines promulgated by various agencies such as the Department of Health.
All right, next one is, and I would apologize if I butcher anybody's name, is Jill Benaboski from Richard Drive. What is the procedure to submit my child for the hybrid synchronous learning option? Do I have to notify the school? Will there be an iPad pickup date? Will I have to notify the child's teacher if I choose to send him for in-person learning? Thank you in advance for addressing my questions.
So all the information for how to acquire access to your child's classroom is being sent home and is online with regards to the back to school preparation list, so to speak. So no one will have to commit to a learning program. They will have to make sure that they go in and access the online class codes to be prepared to join online, whether they go online or in person. They're going to have to do that eventually because at any point in time, we potentially could go, all virtual if things would change throughout the community spread, so on and so forth. So once they access that, it would just be like showing up for class on the first day. So when we start classes and homeroom starts at 9:00, those folks will have the information on how to be online, and those who are in person will be there, and the teacher will take roll like they would any other day. And I don't know, am I articulating this correctly to the administration?
Yeah, the only thing to add is our teachers need to come in next week during our professional development and they'll set up their classrooms and their Shobi codes as well as their Google Meets for their bell schedule throughout the day. That information will be communicated to our parents and students so that they have it at their fingertips to access all of that stuff. So it'll be out by next Wednesday evening.
And then as far as iPad pickup, there's going to be an iPad pickup for all new students and all kindergarten students. And that is taking place, I believe, next Thursday and Friday.
It'll be, the iPad pickup will be Thursday from 3:30 PM to 6:30 PM. And then we'll have another one on Friday, 9 AM to noon. That would be for all kindergartners and any new students to the district. That being said, if any student chooses not to come during the pickup, they will get their iPad on the first day of school. If they come to school, if they don't, we will schedule an appointment for them to come pick it up. We encourage anyone to pick it up next Thursday and Friday. We'll have an announcement on the website tomorrow, as well as a school messenger going out.
It'll be an all call.
Yes, there'll be an all-call going out.
Those students who choose to go cyber, is there anything,
Cyber, asynchronous cyber? or-
yes, asynchronous cyber?
Go ahead.
Is there anything in particular they have to do, or is that indicated on their schedule choices?
It's indicated on the schedule choices. They'll be sent an email password. They log into Edgenuity as any cyber student would. They would simply work on their Edgenuity on a self-based asynchronous model. They'll have all the information prior to the first day of school.
Good.
Most of their classes are already loaded. Am I correct, Mr. Phil?
Yeah, the classes aren't, the students are. We have to wait for the teachers to come in next week. And they customize the classes
Right.
during our opening and service week. And once those classes are set, then we load them. But they'll get a separate email that has a user password, student expectations, and all that information.
And it's Compass Learning for the elementary, Edgenuity for the secondary.
At the elementary level, they'll be receiving a letter with the information.
Is that all of the questions there? Then you cover all the questions on that?
I believe, I believe so.
All right.
Not sure. I think so.
All right, next is Craig Vallant at 100 James Lane in Monaca. I understand protecting privacy. My child was in one activity with students that were in other activities with a student that was suspected to be sick with COVID. While the participants in direct contact were notified, secondary contacts were not. I would like to know what the guidelines are to inform families who have kids in school-related activities. Not one expects to be told any specifics, but just a heads up, your child may have been exposed would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Right. So once again, the Department of Health is the agency that guides us on who needs to be contacted. I will tell you that if the child was involved in an activity where there was the primary contact, then that information was communicated home by the school to the parents, letting them know that occurred and that they would be hearing from the Department of Health and that they should keep an eye on their children. And if they had any concerns, they should go to their PCP. As far as secondary contacts and things like that, that is completely directed by the Department of Health as they provide the information to say, these are the people that are going to be contacted with regards to their COVID exposure. So that's the information that we follow. And those are the folks that we contact as soon as they let us know that's what we needed to do.
Randy Patterson on Pine Haven Court. I understand you are working closely with the PA Department of Health, but the clarification on its guidance for mask wearing in schools with mandating that students wear face coverings even when they are practicing social distancing contradicts the CDC guidelines where the use of cloth face covering is especially important when social distancing is difficult to maintain. If social distancing of 6 feet and plexiglass in place, social distancing will not prove difficult, especially while children are seated. Will we see some flexibility with this within the classrooms while children are seated and in place? Will it be up to the teacher's discretion? Will we wait until the Department of Health lifts this guidance, or is there a plan to gear more towards the CDC guidelines? While I see the value in masks, if social distancing is practiced, and seemingly it sounds solidly in place in most, if not all areas, how can we expect children of all ages to be masked all day? In addition, what type of reprimanding will be involved with mask or lack of there with the little ones? Thank you again for your time and efforts. And I apologize that also the font is very small, trying to cover it. I don't know if Mr. Imler could give me a zoom on here, but Dr. Perry?
Command plus. The face covering order is from the Department of Health. I mean, there's no leeway in that order as of right now. 2 weeks ago, it was if you could social distance 6 feet, then you were okay without the mask or face covering. That changed over the last week. So now we are required to implement that. As far as flexibility with that in the classroom, there is the ability for 10-minute mask breaks. We are seeking guidance on how many of those can occur throughout the day from the department. But as of right now, the flexibility really lies within the health department and that directive. As far as reprimanding little ones, I mean, we're reasonable. We understand that little kids are little kids and that we're going to have to work with them and we're going to have to teach them just like we do everything else. We're teachers here and, we're going to do the best we can to work with parents and children to make sure that we're all in compliance and we're doing the best we can to keep everybody safe.
All right, next is Stacy from Aliquippa. How will teachers balance those students in person or synchronous? This will certainly be more time consuming, but I'm told that the district hasn't discussed that yet and hasn't considered it. I'm very concerned about parent pickup procedures. I'm told the enhanced procedures will be posted, but not sure when. We're a week away and parents have not been informed yet. The center Grange system is weak at best. Last year, my child was dismissed to someone who was on my approved list, but no one in person checked ID or checked to see if the person was approved to take my child from school. I'm very concerned that there will be significantly more parent pickups and no plan 1 week from the first day. Is the district really prepared to open August 31st when all these plans aren't finalized yet?
So I'm not positive the reference with regards to the balancing of the person or in person or synchronous, that we haven't discussed that or considered it. We certainly are prepared for in-person and or synchronous instruction taking place at the same time. All of our teaching staff will be in service in provided time to prepare their lessons and prepare for synchronous instruction. As far as the in-person versus synchronous being more time consuming, they're going to run their classes. They've always run their class and they're going to push things out electronically to the students that are home participating. So I don't, it's obviously going to be different, but I don't know that we're not ready for that. We certainly have discussed it and we have a plan for it. One of the main complaints that not only this district heard, but districts across the country heard whenever we shut things down in March was the lack of a synchronous environment for their kids. That what was pushed out was synchronous or asynchronous, that most schools were pushing out, worksheets and things like that. And there was really no face-to-face learning. And that's something we really took to heart, that if we were going to go distance again, we want to do the best we can to make sure that we were engaging kids and that the teachers were engaging kids. As far as parent pickup procedures, we do have procedures in place. There are procedures in place for Center Grange. Mrs. Kasanovich, I don't know if you want to speak to your pickup procedures that are in place.
Pickup procedures will stay in place almost the same as they've always been. They're supposed to ask for ID if they do not recognize the parent after they've gotten to know the parents. We do get to know the parents quite often when they come to pick up their students. I did not know about any of this that had happened. I would have absolutely addressed it if I was told about it. But I think we have a good system in place, and I think that we'll be able to start fresh in our day of school.
I do want to agree with one comment. Not that I don't agree with comments. I want to agree with one of the comments in here that says that, there's going to be significantly more parent pickups. I believe that to be the case. There probably are going to be more parent pickups and drop-offs for all of our buildings. And, we asked that the parents, work with the school, work with those that are running drop-off and pickup as those things take place so that we can get kids in and out of the schools and not back traffic up into the main roads. I know it's difficult, but as we get to the younger ages, some of the folks want to get out with the kids and, they want to walk them to the door. And we're asking that, you trust that our staff is there to accept your kids, and we do the best we can to get them in and out. The middle school at times poses some problems with regards to the setup there. You have private residencies running down one of the side streets. You have multiple areas of which cars can get in, trying to come into the same location from different directions at the middle school. And, we ask people that they be patient and they work with the folks that are directing traffic to help keep everybody safe, including our staff, not just the students that are coming in.
Have we addressed that at the middle school, Mr. Dolph?
Yes, sir. So I met with SRO St. Clair and Monaca Police Department 2 days ago in regards to pick up and drop off traffic. Our game plan right now is to monitor the first week before making any type of adjustments. But we do have a backup plan for morning drop off. As far as the PM pickup, our backup plan is not as sound at this point. We're going to wait and see just what we're looking at. It may be a point where we're going to have to spread pick up, a couple minutes where everyone was getting out at 2:35. We might ask 6th grade or 7th grade parents to come at like 2:45 and get their youngsters either in that same area or down below by the main office after the buses leave. But we do have some plans in the making as we speak.
Thank you.
It's certainly not an ideal drop off and pick one.
All right. Next is from K. Smith, 102 Evergreen Drive. Why is some of the staff more worried about sports continuing rather than the safety of students? I feel there is more concern about scheduling students to come into the schools to practice or in groups risking exposure and less concern getting the schools ready for students.
I'm not sure of the staff that we speak of with regards to sports versus the safety of students. As far as the district goes, we put together a health and safety plan for athletics that was passed back in June. I think it was June, which went into place in July, first week of July. And we've adhered to the safety plan guidelines just as well adhere to the safety plan guidelines for bringing our students back to school.
Okay. K. Smith again, is the plexiglass installed in the classrooms and cafeteria? I noticed that you said it was ordered.
So I'm going to defer to Mr. Ferris, our facilities director, on exactly where we are with the arrival of the plexiglass, whether or not how much of it's here or if it's all coming Monday or whatever.
Actually, the plexiglass, we're getting an order shipped in tomorrow. We're going to have 2 pallets. I believe it's the high school and middle school. It's coming. The rest will be shipped here Monday. And that'll all be installed. It's being shipped tomorrow, it'll be installed Monday. It was shipped on Monday. It'll be installed on Tuesday, and we should have everything in place. The ultra boards have shipped out, and that is the student desk partitions, and it's also the partitions for the teachers and also the campers.
Okay.
Thank you. Kristen Bauman, 126 Cedar Ridge. If Central Valley is not letting teachers and students know if they were in contact with a student or a teacher who had tested positive for COVID, what happens during the several days between the health department being notified, health department doing their contact tracing and notifying those individuals who may have been exposed? Is there a more efficient way of sharing this information while still following the HIPAA guidelines? It seems that there is likely to be a big delay between the health department being notified and them notifying those who were in contact with the COVID positive individual.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. My understanding is, and speaking with the Department of Health contact yesterday, my understanding is that we're going to hear within the next week that there is a, I want to say, hotline that the school districts are going to have access to, the health department. So for these very concerns and questions and cases about how quickly that information can turn around. I can't verify that 100% as I sit here, but my understanding is that that is coming out, and that should help on the lag time with regards to information coming into the district and information going out.
Dr. Perry, in the few cases that we've had, any case that has been reported to us, we have contacted the Department of Health to verify that. We have gotten an answer back the same day from them, whether that case is legitimate or it's not. So I think it's been a turnaround of less than a couple hours. In every instance that we've been told there may be a case, contact the Department of Health. They've gotten back with the same day with an answer if that is a confirmed case or not.
Thank you.
Okay, Brandy Patterson, Pine Haven Court. In regards to kindergarten classes, will the classes be cleaned between AM and PM session? If cleaning during the break, is there sufficient time for the chemicals to dissipate? If not, how are you addressing the fact that AM classrooms will be adhering to the health code guidelines, but PM will be not?
So we will clean in between the AM and PM kindergartens. We've always cleaned in between the AM and PM kindergarten sessions. As far as, I'm going to defer to Evan again, with regards to the dissipating of cleaning materials between sessions.
We're going to use when we clean in between the kindergarten classes, it's a vital oxide that has a dwell time of 2 minutes to 5 minutes to kill any kind of virus. That will all be wiped down, plexiglass, tables, chairs, all that'll be wiped down, rubbish will be removed. Door handles, handrails, everything will be clean. It's one of the safest disinfectants you can put. It's used in hospitals, it's used in cafeterias, it's used in rehab centers. So it's very safe, it's very effective, and it works very well.
Anything else with that, Dr. Perry?
I don't believe so.
All right, Lindsay Laster,
Last.
1999 Marshall Road, Monaca. I'm assuming this is regarding about the ventilation in the middle school without having AC, masks, and with the children face to face.
So you want to, once again,
Some of our classrooms do not have AC. We do have unit heaters. They're mostly for heating. We do have outside air dampers for those. Are we going to be able to, most of our filters are changed. Either have an antimicrobial disinfectant on them, or we do spray them with the vital oxide to help kill any of the viruses that, may come back through that unit. Any of the units that we do have, we make sure all coils are clean, pans are clean, filters have all been changed. They've all been sprayed with a disinfectant. We're ready to go as far as any of our ventilation. We don't recommend fans just because it blows air through. Windows opening, there's going to be your best bet.
thank you.
Thank you again. Don Campbell, what is set in place in regards to busing? How can we make sure kids will continue to wear their masks on the bus? How can you be sure they will be safe?
Once again, the mask is a requirement set out by the Department of Ed, the Department of Health. We will treat non-wearing of masks like we would any other infraction. It'll be dealt with as a level 1 infraction. Obviously, depending on the age of the kids, we're going to do things that we think are age appropriate. To our transportation survey, it appears that, we've got a pretty good number of parents that are going to choose to, not send kids on the bus, which is certainly going to help with regards to social distancing on those buses.
All right, Angela Marie Blunt, for James Lane. Will there be willingness to reevaluate if the level of cases does increase? Will Christmas break be changed? Will the option for synchronous, asynchronous be available all year?
So we're gonna reevaluate where we are daily. I've said through numerous communications home that, our parents need to be prepared for an alternate plan should something happen that causes the district to go into a more restrictive environment with regards to education. So, we're certainly going to continue to follow the advice of the Department of Health. We'll continue to look at the metrics that have been provided to the district. As far as Christmas break goes, as of right now, I mean, I'm not sure if we would change Christmas break. I guess it would just depend on what circumstances happen between now and then. As far as the option for synchronous and asynchronous being available all year, I believe the answer to that is yes. I want to stress that, this is new to all of us. We're going to do what we can do to work with the Department of Health and follow the guidelines every day and make sure that we're doing whatever we can to keep staff and students as safe as we possibly can.
Diane Sarver from Monaca, can you please repeat what you said about the recording of classes as per the solicitor? And is this the same for live streaming classes? Thanks.
So by live streaming, I'm assuming we're talking about synchronous classes. And I'll let the solicitor speak again. And when he said with regards to attendance, I believe that's maybe what you talk about.
Sure, a recording, I think.
Recording of class.
The distinction.
Recording of classes is being part of the student record.
Right. There's a distinction between a live stream and once something becomes recorded and placed in such a permanency like that, it could potentially become a student record. And you get into a lot of issues with FERPA right there, which is why we've been advising people that there is a distinction and that it would not necessarily be advisable to record.
Okay.
All right. And then also too, to clarify that to Mr. Eimiller's point earlier, that the classroom learning is not streaming. It's not live streaming. Is that correct?
Yeah, once again, I just want to make sure the vocabulary is correct with the parents, that what the teachers are doing are video conferencing from the classrooms. What we are doing here as a board is live streaming a meeting. Two different things.
Thank you. Next is S. Yablonsky on Rainbow Drive. To echo the comment about rushing back, you may not feel that you are rushing back, but you are just getting information out to the parents today and still have information to provide. If you, excuse me, you are not giving us time to make our decisions with providing this last minute information. Why not provide parents with more time to digest this information to make the best decisions for our children?
Thank you for your comments. I feel that we have, put information out as readily as possible with regards to the health and safety plan. That health and safety plan has been out for probably a month. Not much has deviated from that health and safety plan that's been put out a month ago. Obviously, the specifics behind the plan we've been working on since the plan has been put out. Those are the details behind the plan. I can appreciate, it's a tough decision to make for you and your family. We're trying to provide you the opportunity to be flexible, try to be flexible to provide you the options to do whatever you think's best for you and your family. We're doing the best we can to answer questions as they come up. I will continue to do that. If you continue to have questions, we'll have people that contact you and try to answer your questions so that you feel comfortable to make a decision. I know that any of my principals are willing to speak to you about specifics with regards to their buildings, and any specific questions you may have with regards to what goes on in their buildings as well.
Dr. Craig, just to reemphasize the reopening letters that were placed on all of our building websites on this afternoon. They hold a lot of information that will be very helpful to our parents. So that just became available today.
Brandy Patterson, Pine Haven Court. Will K through 2 children have papers, writing, art material, anything physical at all? Or will everything be on iPads all day?
Well, I don't think everything will be on iPads all day in every one of our classes all the time. I think there's going to be times where that's not necessarily possible. One of the things we talked about was teachers potentially having a classroom set of materials that maybe people need to have for their classes. We're going to try to go, paperless as much as possible. We're going to try not to share materials. If indeed we need to share materials or manipulatives, we have things in place to disinfect them. The iPads have a pen feature to them, which is similar to writing with pen and paper. So I don't want to say 1000% that there would never be a time we would not use something that would be more traditional. But we're certainly going to do the best we can to be diligent to, try to mitigate the spread of the virus.
Anything to add?
No, that's exactly it.
Perfect. Angela Marie Blunt, under James Lane, please address the issue of notification. If student in sport/activity A comes in contact with an infected student and then that student goes to activity B, shouldn't those students in activity B be notified?
Once again, the contact tracing is done by the Department of Health. They question the positive cases, where they've been, who they've been in contact with, and then they make the determination as to who needs to know and be notified about potential exposure.
Okay. The next comment is S. Yablonsky, Rainbow Drive. Is the board listening to the comments and taking them into consideration? So many people are stating that the district is rushing and that parents and staff aren't comfortable with the plan. Aren't you supposed to be representing our best interest in considering our comments and opinions? So at this point, I would ask if any board member wants to make a comment on this. I'll kick it off. This has been a lot in a very, very short period of time. There's been a lot of changes that has gone through, that Dr. Perry has fed to us so we could digest and try to understand, to try to make those decisions. As you see in several comments before the board meeting starts, that there's information gathering sessions to try to do the best for the community. I know that not everybody is going to be happy with one set plan. We're never going to please 100% of the population of Central Valley School District. But I do want community to know that this board, along with this administration, has put countless hours into discussing, putting bullet holes through the plan, what could go wrong. And then we also have to understand that every day, every week, there are new guidelines that either loosen or tighten the restrictions that we have and the guidelines that we have to follow. So my comment is, yes, we are listening. We've read through, every board member has read through every comment, looked at, or every question, read through every comment provided by the district administration and everything else like that. We're trying to do our best representing the interest in considering all these comments. And I believe we are. I believe we are. I expressed to Dr. Perry and the board that I think that we're going to try to sit there and go through as many of these questions as we possibly can. Get the answer. If we cannot get the answer right now, provide the answer in as timely the fashion as we possibly can. So, and any other board member, Mr. O'Neill?
at least in part, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Perry, but a lot of our consideration in formulating this particular plan of action was so that the parents would not be rushed to make a decision. My advice would be if you're at all skeptical, keep your child at home and do synchronous learning from home. And at a later point, if you feel better about it, then send your child to school. But nobody's trying to pressure anybody to come to school. It's the parent's choice. And that was one of the big selling points of our plan, that the parents would have a choice as to what they want to do. That last question, somebody was feeling pressured. Correct me if I'm wrong. At any point, a student can change from synchronous online to synchronous face-to-face. Am I correct?
Correct.
So I don't see why anybody's feeling any pressure.
Any other board member comments?
Good comment.
I do want to kind of reiterate that was one of the things that I felt that was important. And I know that the board did also, that this should not be the schools and the board's decision, that we tried to do. And luckily, where we are with technology and investments that we've made through the years have given us the capabilities to offer parents the options that have been rolled out. I think that if people have concerns, that I know Dr. Perry had made comments, that reach out to the building principals via email, phone, however, and try to get any other clarification that is needed for some concerns that maybe have or anything else. Dr. Perry, do you have anything to add?
No, I agree. I mean, I mentioned the building principals because they're living the details of the plan of what's going on in their buildings. They know the specifics of everything that's going to go on in their buildings. They're the ones that are moving furniture. They're the ones that are putting directional signage in the hallways. They're the ones that are looking at roster sizes, so on and so forth. So I do agree that they certainly are more than willing to answer whatever questions come their way.
So after this next question, everything else was submitted after the cutoff.
Okay, so this will be the last question for the evening, knowing that the rest of the questions will be posted with answers.
Yes.
On the website as soon as they're all put together. So we have B. Patterson, Pine Haven Court. Can we log in on any given day to do synchronous learning for assistance? Let's say the child is an hour late for school or has an early dismissal. Is it possible to be in the physical classroom and have synchronous online access at any time?
Yes. You want to further?
Mr. Dahl?
Elaborate?
Yeah, the way the synchronous online learning works is your child will be provided a Google Meet link. If they have a doctor's appointment and they're absent, away, obviously they'll be marked absent. If they come back from the doctor's appointment, they log on at 10 o'clock, they're able to log on to that class. You know, we're able to email notes for the doctor's excuses, and they're able to follow their day. So at any time, any day of the week, a kid can come to school, can learn from home, mixture of both. If they want to come in certain classes, math, science in the morning, leave at lunch and go home and do virtual Google Meet.
Ask questions.
In the afternoon, they're able to do that. So
I would rather just
making everything as flexible as possible. We're not feeding any of our families. They have options, and our teachers and staff are going to bend over backwards to meet with their needs, and I think we're prepared to do so.
All right, the only thing that, and I don't know if I'm reading this differently, but if math class is at 9 o'clock, that's when you have to be in math. If you're not there at 9, you're not getting math at 3.
Correct.
Okay, just to clarify that.
yes, it's no different than going into
Right. All right, Dr. Perry, if the board does not have an issue, wants to continue going.
I've asked if we could just answer these questions. I think the parents want to know what's going on, and I want to do the best I can to answer the questions tonight. So I think we're on fifth grade question.
Yes, you ready?
Yes.
Robin Williams, 102 Van Kirk Road. Can you elaborate what the numbers look like in regards to fifth grade based on the survey? How many are planning? Or it's cut off, to my understanding, it is that the fifth graders are due to get new iPads. Is this information true? When are they exchanged? I'm assuming they're old ones, and there you go. They're iPads. How will specials be handled for synchronous learning?
Okay, so as far as the numbers in fifth grade goes, I mean, you want to speak to the fifth grade numbers?
From the survey,
I guess from the survey.
pretty equally proportionate from the others. As I said before, fifth grade can fit 22 to 24 kids in the class for 6 feet social distance. So my highest roster is 24 in the fifth grade, but I do have other students that do have the rosters. If you got your letter today, it did state that there's a possibility that some children's homeroom will be changed. That is in order to promote social distancing and to reduce the roster numbers. As for specials, all the specials will rotate to the students. The students will not be transitioning in the hallways to the specials. The only time that they will be transitioning is to recess and lunch, which they will be with a teacher. And then Eddie, you can answer the iPad question.
Yes, actually, students in grades 5 and 6 are getting new iPads. Unfortunately, those were the last 2 grade levels we were scheduled to swap out before the shutdown in the spring. So all of those kids will be getting their new iPads the first week of school. Those exchanges will just happen for those kids that are coming to school that week. It'll just happen in the class. For those that are choosing to attend school synchronously or asynchronously, we will schedule a swap with the parents. We'll make individual phone calls. We'll schedule times for that.
And to clarify that there will be no delay, the iPad that they have will be in use until they get their new one.
The iPad that they have runs all of the software we need for class, so.
Dr. Perry, just quickly, there's been a number of requests of the breakdown of the survey by grade. How difficult is that to post?
Not at all.
Can we just post that so people are aware? It just seems like that's been a number of requests.
Sure. Not at all. Like I said, originally we put it out. We didn't want to confuse folks. That was the reason behind it. And we thought it would give folks an idea as to kind of what the vibe was. But yeah, it's not a problem to put that out there.
All right, K. Smith, 102 Evergreen Drive. On the subject of practices, you said there was a protocol on the gym being cleaned between back-to-back practices, but why is the volleyball team going in directly after the basketball team? There is no cleaning between, according to the students.
I'll defer that one to.
That has not occurred. Me, Mr. Dolph, and Mr. Cohen have created all of the athletic practice schedules, and coaches are following them as we posted. Mr. Ferris has that schedule. He has a schedule for his staff in place to clean all facilities in between practice, specifically the inside gym area. So no, there's not like a practice ends at noon and the next practice starts at noon. That has not happened. That is not the schedule that we put in place.
All right. Am I reading this next one? John, there's a comment in here.
I think we're on the one about obligated to use the school iPad for synchronous learning.
Okay.
Or we have the option to use another computer. We didn't do that one yet, correct?
Okay. No, Jill Manovsky, Richard Drive. Will my child be obligated to use the school iPad for the synchronous learning, or will we have the option to use other computer and use the school iPad for submitting assignments?
I can answer this one. So most of the software or files that kids will have access to for school is accessible on any computer at home, whether it's a laptop or a desktop computer. The learning management systems we use, specifically Shobi K-8 and Google Classroom and Shobi and some other things we use at the high school, they will work on any device. There may be some specialty apps at the elementary level that the student will be required to use their iPad for, but they can use their iPad in conjunction with a desktop computer at home if they choose to do that. They should both work.
Okay. Next is,
It doesn't matter. You can skip it.
okay. The next question is just a reminder to please follow when you're submitting questions, full name, street address. And then there's Gail Menard, 239 Biscuit Lane. What is the district plan of
I think it's
virtually?
it's made to go all virtually.
Yeah.
So if we're made to go all virtually, the teachers would come into the classroom and they would teach from the school. And it would be the same thing as if you were home doing your synchronous instruction. That's why I said earlier tonight that it is important that even if you're sending your child to school face to face, that you make sure that, and we will do this with our teaching staff on day one, working with our in-class and our synchronous students, that they be prepared to know how to get on to their online classes. Because if that's the case and we have to go all virtual, then all the students would stay home. They would participate following their schedule, just as if they were coming in, just as those who were choosing to stay home and do synchronous would do. So that would be the plan. The teachers would come to the district, they would teach out of the rooms, and it would be all virtual.
Okay. The next is Lisa Houston, 144 Maury Road. I just wanted to commend our custodial staff, also Evan Ferris, on their tremendous job through this pandemic. I know we are all physically and mentally exhausted, as well as all of you. Thank you. Well, there's
So Lisa Houston is, thank you, Lisa. Lisa's one of our custodians here with the district. And I would like to echo those comments that Mr. Ferris and his staff and our custodial staff and our maintenance crew and, everybody else has worked around the clock to make sure that these buildings are clean, to make sure they're trained, to make sure that they're ready to go for the kids coming back to school. Our union, our support staff union has been terrific with regards to anything and everything with regards to coming back to school, whatever it takes. If that means that we're shifting some schedules around, so on and so forth, they're willing to do that. They've been willing to step up. Our secretaries have been here every day since March. Our cafeteria folks fed people all the way through March into June. Our support staff has been tremendous. Our paras, I know that they'll do a great job supporting our teaching staff as we move forward as well. So I echo her comments that they have done a tremendous job.
Thank you. Shannon Trees, are the elementary grades getting pens like the older students for their iPads? I know after spring classes, it makes it much easier for the little ones to write on their iPads. I think.
Yes, I will be working with the teachers and the principals on getting those distributed to all the elementary kids. So they are all getting them, yes.
And I do agree. We did go buy one for my son and it made a world of difference for neatness and everything else like that, for the second and third grade or third graders.
When we handed out the iPads during the closure, the main reason we didn't hand those out is because there was a little training behind those. And because we didn't have the kids in school, we weren't prepared to offer that virtually. You have to charge them. There's a way to pair them with the iPad. So we just weren't prepared to hand those out just to send them home. We wanted to do it right. So.
Gwen McGuire, I know that Mr. Miller addressed this, 107 Mount Laurel Lane. FYI, if someone is trying to submit a comment on the YouTube channel, I don't have an account, so I could.
So the person that was trying to do that was this Michelle Tomei. I contacted her through the YouTube channel. She added her comments to the regular form, so that's who you'll be reading next.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Michelle Tomei, 146 Columbia Drive. I have heard that space in the classroom might not be sufficient to maintain 6-foot social distancing as required by the health guidelines. And in some cases, it might be as low as 3 feet. If this is true, and if so, what will be done to ensure that students are maintaining a 6-foot distance during class?
So once again, earlier we addressed the social distancing with the numbers of the rosters. We feel that the 6 feet distance can be maintained in most, if not all, the rooms, depending on the number of students that come. right now at capacity, we're very close in all the rooms to social distancing. If we're not expecting capacity, we're expecting, I don't know, 60% maybe of the kids that may come in face to face on any day. With those numbers, we feel that social distancing should not be an issue. Obviously, some of the larger classes, the traditional larger classes, the bands, the choruses at the high school, things like that, we'll find appropriate spaces that allow them to spread out. Am I okay with what I
100%.
Uh,
shared in your buildings?
All right, Michelle, again, I know that there was some technical difficulty, so there's a couple questions from her. While I can appreciate the flexibility that is being offered to parents for in-school versus at-home synchronous learning, what considerations are being offered to the teachers who might not know their class makeup on a daily basis and will need to maintain and manage social distancing among the students, while at the same time manage those students who are at home?
Okay, what number are we on? 48?
48.
Also, I'm going to speak to that.
Class makeup on a daily basis, need to maintain and manage their statistics. Well, I would say that our teachers are used to managing their classrooms all the time with regards to new kids that they get to know as they come in every year. They're professionals, their classroom management skills, they know how to manage their rooms and the personalities of the kids as they get to know them. As part of the learning process, as part of what we do as teachers, getting to know our kids. I would make the argument that, to go full synchronous with all of our kids really doesn't give our teachers the opportunity or the kids the opportunity to get to know their teachers in a more intimate environment where we're face to face. I don't foresee that would be an issue. I don't know if any of the principals want to comment or add to that or.
Every teacher will have their set roster. So if their period 3 class has 18 kids on it, regardless if there's 9 in front of them and 9 at home synchronously, or there's 15 in front of them synchronously, they're going to be able to manage those kids and they'll have the same expectations and the same rosters from period to period.
And the social distancing that we spoke of in the classroom also pertains to the teacher. There is room for the teacher away from their desk, also some plexiglass opportunities on their desk, and when they're in front of the whiteboard, in front of the Logitech camera, that is taken into consideration. We say social distancing, not just the kids, but the teacher from the kids as well.
Wonderful. Michelle, again, with regards to the last response to the last question for the evening, I've been asked if any consideration has been given to the teacher who is going to have to manage this extremely flexible that has been offered to the parent and student. On any given day, a student can come in and out of the classroom at will. They can choose to log on in the morning and come into the classroom for an hour, then go home. I foresee this will be a significant burden on the teacher to manage social distancing in the classroom along with the students who are streaming, whose primary responsibility is to teach the child and focus on learning.
Once again, I mean, I don't see that to be an issue with regards to our teaching staff, managing flexibility, managing the students coming in and out of the classroom at will. I don't look at it as coming in and the classroom as will. Every day, the teachers in a traditional setting go to the classroom. Every day, there's kids that come in and out. The in and out doesn't mean they're necessarily walking in and out of the room all day long. The in and out is one day a kid may show up, another day the kid may not. I mean, that's difficult. I think there's going to be more consistency than we think. I don't think until we get moving on that you're going to see people running in and out of the schools. I think the flexibility that we provided has really been for the parents to manage their home situation with work, with childcare, those types of things. I think we're really a major driving force behind the flexibility that we're trying to offer parents, not only the childcare situation, but their comfort level with sending their students to school. So if I'm not comfortable on day 1, I might not be comfortable till day 14, or I might not be comfortable till day 21. At some point in time, we're all going to have to come back. And I would be surprised if the transientness is that transient starting out. I don't know if anybody else has a thought.
I think it's also going to be different.
By grade level,
Center Grange,
age.
Todd Lane, I think that you might see a little bit more
maybe at the high school.
at the high school than at the younger, but I
That's
think
really
it's,
not unusual now either, though. We have students that come in and out of the high school all the time.
And that,
But they go take classes at the VOTEC, or they go take college classes. We have students on work programs. So it's not unusual that we would have kids coming in and out of the building, especially at the high school level. I would agree. We'll probably see a little bit more transient atmosphere at the high school than potentially the middle school and or the elementary schools. And the other reason for that's transportation. I mean, the students have the ability to transport themselves in a lot of cases with the high school students where we don't have that flexibility at the younger ages.
Mr. O'Neill.
and that question seemed to intimate that there are going to be people coming in and out during a class. I don't think that's going to happen any more than it normally would when you'd have kids coming back from doctor's appointments and so on.
Expectation is if you're going to go transient in between classes, let's say that I'm going to come in for this class, but I'm going to stay home for these classes, is that you need to be on time. So,
And you can't skip out in the middle of a class.
some of that's going to be dictated by the schedule.
Good. Robin Williams, 102 Van Kirk Road. To clarify, I was looking, know how specials will be addressed when learning from home. Examples is gym, PE, art, music, library. How is my child going to be expected to participate if they are learning from home?
So I'm going to defer this one to the principals who have talked to their teaching staff about some of these questions and concerns about how we deliver to students at home. I will say that, some of this took place back in March where we had students that were taking art and phys ed and library and things like that from home. And our teachers asked students to do different things, maybe go video. I'm going to use a phys ed example. Maybe they ask them to go outside and video themselves participating in doing some physical exercise, and then they would turn that in as their assignment. That's probably a very, very rudimentary example, but those types of things.
We're talking to some of our staff members that are in those particular situations, some of the unique classes, some of the hands-on classes. That's exactly what we said. Things are going to be a little bit different as to what you may expect of your students, those sitting in class and those sitting in their dining room learning synchronously. It may not all be the same as it's been in the past. Some of the assignments, some of the projects, same goes with even some of our science classes with the labs. We may not be doing the labs the same way we did hands-on. There is some online work that we could do with some of our science labs. So there is going to be a different approach in some classes. There must be, because not everybody's sitting there face to face with you. And our staff understands that, and we're going to continue that dialogue as we start back here next week about those particular instances.
Okay. The next three questions are from B. Patterson, Pine Haven Court. Several county schools going from either hybrid or full 5-day in-person option to straight virtual, at least in the last week. Unsure is the reason, but does the CV board see that as a high probability before the start date of 8/31, if all the stats and reports stay relative the same, or are we 100% in foregoing ahead with this plan? Any insight to a sudden change or potential of a sudden change would be appreciated by all.
So I can't speak to the specifics about different county schools and what county schools' decisions were. I don't think that would be appropriate for me to even speculate on what that is, not being a part of that community and or any of the discussions that take place within their communities, their board. I don't think that would be professional or appropriate for me to comment on somebody else's school district. That being said, I am aware, at least as of today, because we speak as superintendents frequently. As of today, there were Freedom, Aliquippa, and the CTC were the only schools that I'm aware of that had gone full virtual. Now, that does not mean that someone might not change their plan and go from a hybrid to a full virtual. I cannot speak for the board with regards to a changing of the plan. I mean, that's up to them to speak to that. My comment would be that if the metrics stay where the metrics are, I would not be my recommendation that we change the plan that we currently have in place and that we administratively have been preparing for the students to be here on August 31st. So as of right now, I don't see that changing. That being said, I can't predict the future of what goes on with the state, with the governor's guidance, and I'm not being political here. The guidance that's come out of the Department of Ed, it changes constantly with regards to guidance from the Department of Ed, with regards to the governor's office. That guidance changes. The health department, the mask guidance changed last week. Things continue to change. I can't speak for whether or not, obviously, the state would come in and dictate and say, listen, nobody's going back. I can't speak to that. As of right now, if you're asking me as the superintendent, whether or not we plan to be here August 31st, the answer is yes. If for some reason we need to make a change, I hope that we have communicated enough ahead of time to folks to just be prepared that you got to have a backup plan should something change and we need to make a move in another direction. Also, that being said, I keep talking. I know there's lots of questions tonight about the Department of Health, Department of Health. In positive cases, notification of positive cases, so on and so forth. It would be the Department of Health that would provide guidance to the school district that would say, hey, you've got this many cases. Our recommendation is you need to shut down a school, or you need to shut down 2 schools, or you need to close the district. So obviously we'll follow that guidance from the Department of Health, and we'll do the best we can to make sure that those who need to be notified are notified, and that we try to provide an environment. I think that we're all kidding ourselves if we do not think that there's not going to be a case of COVID in the school district. I mean, that is going to happen. It happens everywhere. It happens all around the country. It happens anywhere, businesses, so on and so forth. We're just doing the best we can to try to mitigate the spread, as the Department of Health and the Department of Ed have asked us to do. And I'm speaking for the board.
No, I'm not going to speak for the board. I'll speak as a board member that I feel that the plan that we do have in place does cover these. And that, yes, it is very irritating, involved in conversations with board members and Dr. Perry that this came out, and how does this affect us? And that it's a living document. And we're going to try to stick to the plan as best we can and make adjustments as we get this information and hopefully in the best interest of the district. Any other board member comments to this?
I agree with you. It's a living document. There's nothing we can do. It's day to day.
I think if they're asking whether we're committed to the plan as it is, I would say yes. And the only thing that would change would be if the metrics change or if something comes from the state that we have to change.
B. Patterson's last question, or no, I'm sorry. It's not the last one. Find the right one.
Yeah.
What do you think about?
What do you think it is about Central Valley that gives us the ability and determination to offer all these flexible options versus our neighboring schools? Once again, I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment, or professional for me to comment on neighboring schools. I'm sure that they have their rationale reasons. I think that technologically, I feel like our teaching staff has the requisite skills to deliver in this environment. I feel like our teaching staff has been trained for years on the use of technology. I feel that, our technology department and our support for technology in the district is second to none. I believe that this board has provided our teachers and students the resources to be successful in a changing environment. When we took on these initiatives, however many years back it was when we started the whole iPad initiative, how many years ago was it? 8 years ago. I think this board had the vision to prepare our kids for a changing future. Fortunately, an unfortunate situation really showed that we have the capabilities of delivering. I'm not saying that please, I'm not saying that we are not going to run into any situations when we start this. I'm sure that there's going to be bumps in the road. I'm sure that there's going to be things that we need to do better and we need to address. I just ask that the community work with us as we go through that. And, I think that we heard two things. I think that we heard that the parents wanted to see more of a synchronous option after what happened in March, that they felt that what was provided in March across the country was not enough. And we felt the synchronous environment would do that. And I think we also felt that, our community wanted choice, that our parents wanted choice to make the decisions as to what they felt was best for their kids. And that the school superintendent should not be telling you how to educate your kid, that the Board of Education should not be telling you how to educate your kids. That should be a choice for you based on your personal feelings, based on your situation, and based on your comfort level with sending your kids back to school.
The last question from B. Patterson is, have you given any thought to an aid to assist those kids who are viewing remotely with technical issues as the class is being taught? What is the process for this? Or is it just Mr. I. Miller? Will there be a person per class or even grade? Did you put this comment in?
No, I did not. No, it is not just Mr. Eimiller. I don't think I could do that by myself. I have enough staff to provide on-site support in each building, as we've done in the past. In addition to that, we've spent years training our staff or teaching staff on how to use technology, as Dr. Perry was saying. They're very knowledgeable. When our teachers aren't just trained on how to use the technology themselves, but they're also trained on how to support the kids in the classroom. So if it's something that one of the in-classroom teachers can't help support the kids on, we have the staff to provide the support in the building, whether that's a phone call to the parent, or whether it's done via email, or some type of scheduled virtual conference that we have to have with the parent and the kid to help resolve their issues.
I also want to add that for all of our parents and students, there is technical support available from our staff. So if and when you go to the student parent support website, there's information there as to how our staff and students can receive technical support from home throughout and at school throughout this process.
Okay. K. Smith, 102 Evergreen Drive. How do you plan on avoiding waste, like school lunches? If no one is sure how many kids will be there day to day, parents can decide on a day-to-day basis if their kid will attend in person. Parents don't let staff know what days their kids will be attending ahead of time. It makes it hard to plan and social distance.
So I do not have our food service director here this evening. I did ask that very question to our food service director with regards to any concerns about, preparing food and having waste, so on and so forth. And she said no. I can't speak to the specifics as to her rationale for why that was, but they follow the morning attendance and things like that. They follow the attendance trends to know how many kids are coming in and not. I do also want to add that we are providing, we did apply for a waiver to allow for synchronous students to pick up food on a daily basis as well. I believe it may be for the week that they can come and they can pick up food for the week if they're not coming in. They would have to be obviously a student. They would be charged depending on whether or not they were full price, free and reduced, so on and so forth. But we also, that information's coming home as well, as far as how folks that are staying home could get pickup meals for the week.
Okay. Rebecca Armitage. All right, 100 Tiger Lily Drive. Many parents have expressed concerns tonight about the very limited notifications regarding positive cases within the district. It seems that the school community can be notified by the district of positive cases without sharing private information. Will the administration and board please discuss and consider changing this policy? Thank you.
once again, I'm not going to speak for the board. Obviously, we're going to continue to follow the recommendations that were provided from the Department of Health. We work with our solicitor's office as well to make sure that we're applying the appropriate information to the appropriate people with regards to any positive cases that come into the district. The district has nothing to hide. I want to repeat, the district has nothing to hide. We will do the best we can to make sure that the appropriate people are notified based on the information that we receive from the Pennsylvania Department of Health.
Okay, thank you. And then there's just two final comments. B. Patterson on Pine Haven Court is a thank you for all your time and energy and dedication during this unprecedented time. Thank you for that comment. Gail Menard, 239 Biscuit Lane. I wanted to thank the board for giving the parents all the options that we have and efforts to accommodate every student and parents' concerns. Thank you for all you do for our kids. That is all the questions that we have.
Can I make one last comment?
Dr. Perry?
I'd like to thank all the folks who sent in questions tonight. You know, we value your concerns. We value your questions. We're doing the best we can to answer everything that we can. As someone mentioned, unprecedented times. It's new for all of us. And we'll just work with us. Work with the school, work with the administration, work with the teaching staff. You know, our teachers are tremendous. All right, our teachers will do a heck of a job. I said back in March, whenever this pandemic started, and we had to go completely virtual on a 1 day's notice, 2 weeks. We had 2 weeks to prepare to go completely virtual. I said, once the plan's in place, our teaching staff will make it happen. I am confident, as I sit here, that the plan is in place. Our teaching staff will make it happen because that's what they do. They teach our kids and they do a heck of a job at it. And I am confident that our teaching staff will take this plan and they will make it happen. Yes, we have folks that are apprehensive of coming into school. I think there's people that are apprehensive in the United States of America about everything going on in this country. And that, you know, we will overcome that and we'll work together as a school community to work through this pandemic. And, you know, just all I ask is please work with us and understand that things are going to change, might change for the better. Let's hope that, you know, maybe the day will come this year where everybody's coming back to school and we're back to status quo. Just work with us, continue to be patient with us, and appreciate that you know we are here to serve you as our community. And we felt that the plan we put in place gave you the opportunity to make decisions for your family based on what you felt was right for your children. So thank you for your questions.
Right.
And hopefully we did an okay job of answering them.
Agenda items, board policy items. Number one is to approve a settlement of the Maricopa Property Tax Assessment Appeal, former Macy's, at the Beaver Valley Mall at a fair market value of $3 million and an assessed value of $654,000 as recommended by the solicitor in an executive session is hereby approved by the solicitor and authorized to final settlement. Number two is to waive the second reading of policy 103.2 sexual harassment. Number three is to approve policy 103.2 sexual harassment as presented. And number four is to approve a 1-year agreement with Hello Sign to provide online signature collection services to the Central Valley School District at a cost of $7,560. I'm looking for motions on item 1 through 4. Mr. Bloom? Second, Mr. King. Is there any discussion on items 1 through 4?
Number 4.
Thought that one was going to come up. We just put this on the agenda, I believe, today. So because of this virtual environment that we're all living in now, there's a lot of documents that we need to sign. And with the pandemic and the inability to get the people or have people come in, it's imperative that we have an electronic signature agreement so that we can do things like IEPs, so on and so forth. And I can let Ed and Aaron speak specifically to the details behind that.
Yeah, so it's more than just sending somebody a document, having them put an electronic signature on it, sending it back. We need to be able to collect the electronic signatures using a legally binding method that is encrypted and secure, especially for special education documents, for 504 agreements that out of our guidance offices. And above and beyond that, the software could be used for central registration office. We're trying to get kids enrolled in our district. It could be used between the superintendent's office and the board president for collecting board president signatures. There's a number of uses for it. I know the number seems expensive, but for what it does, it's actually a very reasonable price. I looked at 5 different software packages. Most of them were well over $10,000. So.
Any other discussion, comments, questions for items 1 through 4? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then there's an FYI of the first reading of 103.2 sexual harassment. I don't see anything under negotiation items. We'll turn it to education. Ms. Belcastro?
Number 1, to approve the adoption of the Central Valley School District's Title I School to Parent Compacts. That's on attachment E. Number 2, to approve the 2020-2021 bus schedule based upon approval of the administration. Number 3, to approve Dr. Mocha to conduct student physical exams at Central Valley High School, Central Valley Middle School, Todd Lane, and Center Grange schools for the 2021 school year at the rate of $10 per student exam. And number 4, to approve Dr. Dragon Jack to conduct the student dental exams for the 2020-2021 school year at the rate of $4 per student exam.
Okay, Colleen, would you make the change to number 2? Thank you. Motion on items 1 through 4? Mr. Bloom, second, Mr. Moad. Any discussion on items 1 through 4? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. There's nothing under technology. We'll move to Mr. O'Neill in athletics.
Number 1, to approve Johnny George as a volunteer assistant football coach at a stipend of $0 pending review, receipt, and acceptance of all clearances. And we have an FYI on those athletic schedules. Dr. Perry, do you have those dates from Sam on the various sports?
Yeah, so you want to speak to that, Sean, with regards to when the start date is?
Next week, we would be permitted to start fall sports, with the exception of football.
Depending on tomorrow's meeting.
Depending on the PIA meeting, right. The football will be in acclimation next week, and then the following week, the week of the 31st, will be what's considered camp, where they can have contact. The other sports are ready to start this week to practice. Not that we haven't had workouts and summer conditioning. Those are the dates and timelines that we have today. As you said, that could change tomorrow.
And if Sam could get me those dates for the other sports, that would help me out when I get questions.
All the schedules have been adjusted.
Right.
Based on the recommendations of District 7 first, and then PIA.
Right, thank you. I'd like to move that those items under athletics be accepted.
All right, second, Mr. King. Any discussion on item 1? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. There's nothing under extracurricular. Mr. Moad, building and grounds.
Just one item to approve or confirm the following building usage request pending final approval from the superintendent regarding COVID-19 regulations as presented.
Okay, motion on item 1. Mr. Moad, second. Ms. Belcastro, any discussion under that?
I'd just like to make one comment. Our Latchkey program, they are required to follow a health and safety plan as well. Met with those folks multiple times. Their health and safety plan falls in line with what we're doing here in the school.
And also, if something would happen and we would be moved to all virtual, they would not be.
They would go all virtual as well.
And then anyone utilizing any of our facilities are going to be subject to the same rules that
As of right now, we've had nobody, as of right now, we have not approved any indoor facility usage.
But I mean, even like sent to baseball,
Yeah,
ball, they'll be subject to whatever
anybody
regulation.
that does the outside facilities, Sam meets with them, talks about the requirements that they have to have in place with regards to the health and safety stuff.
We've provided waivers to the district as well, I believe.
And there's waivers that we have them sign off on.
And it's, the language is very clear in there, Tom, that if they don't abide by the guidelines, that we reserve the right to ask them to leave.
I know I'm getting a little, maybe it's tired. Did we vote on this yet?
No.
Just check it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Oh, Mr. Bloom, we'll turn it over to you on the personnel.
To approve the 2021 substitute list pending receipt, review and acceptance of all clearances under attachment F. 2, to approve the 2021 roads transit bus driver aids list pending receipt, review and acceptance of all clearances, attachment G. Number 3, to approve the following 2021 building monitor positions at Center Grange and Todd Lane at a rate of $10 an hour pending receipt, review and acceptance of all clearances. Amy Wilson at Todd Lane, Kelly Shield at Center Grange. Number 4, to approve a sabbatical request for an elementary teacher for the first semester of the 2021 school year. The district reserves the right to refuse any request to rescind the sabbatical. Number 5, to approve an FMLA request for an elementary teacher pursuant to the expanded FMLA provisions of the Families First Coronavirus Relief Act. The leave is approved for a specified duration of 12 weeks and shall commence on August 31st, 2020 and expire on November 23rd, 2020. The district reserves the right to refuse any request to rescind the leave. Number 6, to approve an FMLA request for an elementary teacher pursuant to the expanded FMLA provisions of the Families First Coronavirus Relief Act. The leave is approved for a specified duration of 12 weeks, shall commence on August 31st, 2020, and expire on November 23rd, 2020. The district reserves the right to refuse any request to rescind the leave. Number 7, to approve an FMLA request for a middle school teacher effective November 9th, 2020 through January 29th, January 29th, 2021, excuse me. Number 8, to approve Casey Ronstadler as a long-term sub at Todd Lane for the 2020-21 school year, a rate of $130 a day, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 9, to approve Teresa Gallagher as a long-term sub at Center Grange for the 2020-2021 school year at a rate of $130 a day, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 10, to approve Julie Evans as a long-term sub Center Grange the first semester of the 2021 school year, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 11, to approve the resignation of Linda Hunt, custodian, effective August 17th, 2020. Number 12, to approve the resignation of Dawn Lubin, cafeteria general worker, effective August 13th, 2020, attachment H. Number 13, to approve the resignation of Jake Levinsky, part-time elementary teacher, effective August 10th, 2020, attachment I. Number 14, to approve the resignation of Nicole Kistner, paraprofessional, effective August 5th, 2020, attachment J. Number 15, to approve the resignation of Heidi Kalnecki, paraprofessional, effective August 6th, 2020, attachment K. Number 16, to approve the resignation of Karen Smith, paraprofessional, effective August 18th, 2020, attachment L. Number 17, to approve Danny Schotterman as a full-time custodian at a rate of $14.50 an hour, effective August 21st, 2020, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances. Number 18, to approve Joseph Noss as a full-time custodian at a rate of $14.50 an hour, effective August 21st, 2020, pending receipt, review, and acceptance of all clearances.
And I have one addition to the agenda, which is number 9, to approve the retirement of Becky Dostalik effective June 5th, 2020.
For motions on items 1 through 19, Mr. Moad, second, Mr. O'Neill. Any discussion on items 1 through 19? Mr. Moad?
Just a quick question to Dr. Perry. The number of resignations pretty much in line with this time of year, like for the paraprofessionals, those type of things.
I'd say that,
I know
maybe a little higher, maybe a little higher than typical. We typically have turnover with paraprofessionals. We typically have turnover in the cafeteria. As far as teaching staff with leaves, right now, it's pretty typical. Maybe a little more than normal.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I don't see anything under finance items. So we will move to Dr. Perry. Any more comments?
I think I've said a lot tonight. I just want to remind the public, check their mail, check the website for very detailed information for our return to school that is very, very building specific. And as I mentioned earlier, the parent resource main page of the district website, very specific to distance learning. That's going to be relevant for all students face-to-face or synchronous in case we ever get in a situation where we need to move to a full synchronous mode. I also want to thank our custodial staff, secretaries, everybody, our support staff for getting everything ready to go back. And on a personal note, I cannot thank our administration and our management staff for the job that they do, for the dedication that they have to these kids, our teaching staff. They work tirelessly. They are dedicated. I don't ever have to worry about whether they're putting the time in to get the job done. They will do whatever it takes as long as it takes. And I certainly am not the wheel that makes things happen around here. It's the teachers that teach our students. It's the administrators that run the buildings. They're the ones that make it happen. And I can't thank them enough. So thank you to all those folks. That's where we are here today. And I also want to thank this board for you. You are not in an easy situation. This is tough for everybody. I don't know why people think that if this country is the way that it is and there's turmoil in the country with regards to these things, that the district is immune to that and that we're supposed to have answers for things that they can't figure out in the United States of America. And, you have a job that is very difficult. And I know that you do the best that you can to put the students at the forefront. And, I want to thank you for what you've done. And to our solicitors, I mean, I kill these guys. I'm on them constantly to make sure that we're doing the right things and they're always there responsive. So I just want to thank everybody. It's going to be a rocky road. I do not think that this is going to be smooth. I think it's going to be a rocky road. I don't think I think it's going to get bad before it gets better, but we're going to do the best we can to hang in there and try to provide our students, the opportunities that they need. They need a place to come and eat. They need a place to come. Teachers can nurture them, love them. They need a place that's safe for them, and it's the school. And they need socialization. They need extracurricular activities. They need the arts. They need all those things, and this is the place that they get it. So I want to thank you for what you do to make that happen.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. Any administration comments, questions? Ross, comments?
I have a question for the administration, building levels. Up to this point, I'm just curious, how many people at your building levels are going to PA Cyber? I don't know that you know that yet, or you have some though?
I will say though, like, it is not a large influx of students right now here going to outside science. It may be up a handful of students, but it's kind of typical as to where we are other years.
You haven't really seen an increase as you're going here.
Nothing to hang a hat on.
Okay. And I'd also like to, say that, what the administration has done in the school district in preparing for this really a difficult situation that we're in, and not only us, throughout the United States. And And really, I just wished everybody good luck, and especially the people that are going to be in the trenches, your teaching staff, because I think they're in for, a real shock, that's going to happen, especially, I'm still trying to talk here with this mask on, and to think again that those people are going to be in that classroom with this mask on for morning till afternoon, and the same thing with the kids. I wish them the best, and they're going to be challenged for sure. And I agree with what Dr. Perry had said. I think we're in for some problems down the road here, and I wish that it doesn't happen. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen. So, but I again, congratulations to the people putting the time and effort in to make this thing work. And I hope it goes off real smooth and we don't have any of these problems that we're anticipating. But again, realistically, we know that I think it's going to happen. To what degree it remains to be seen.
Mr. Bloom?
Again, I say hats off to our administrative team for getting us to where we are and getting us through everything that we've come through so far. And good luck moving forward. And stay strong and stay safe. Thank you.
Mr. Ambrose?
I think you can echo what they said.
Okay. Mr. O'Neill?
I'd like to thank all you folks who make this place go. We know who it isn't. It isn't us. It's Dr. Perry.
Not me.
It's you folks.
Sam.
The grease that makes this wheel turn here. And we'll get you some seat belts because it's going to be a rough ride.
Mr. King?
I'd just like to thank Dr. Perry for his leadership and the administrators for the job that they've done. The secretaries, the custodians, they're working overtime like Dr. Perry said.
Mr. Moad?
Just to echo what everyone said, education has changed so much in the last 10 to 15 years. And it's been subtle changes, I think, but this is a dramatic one that's going to have some permanent impact. And everyone has always adapted to it, from the administration, the superintendent, the teachers, the custodians. It's ever changing, and I appreciate the fact that everyone's willing to adapt. And I think we as a district need to make sure we stay open to receiving constructive criticism from our staff, from our administration, from the parents as to how we can do better.
Good point.
I think we have a great plan in place. There's going to be a rocky road ahead of us. There's going to be bumps in it, but we've got to learn to adapt and make some changes along the way to make it better. So
I think that's a very good point.
Ms. Belcastro?
I go along with everybody else with thanking everybody from the top down to the bottom to the teachers. It is going to be uncharted territory, and just go day by day, day by day. Thank you for your hard work. Appreciate that.
And the only final comment that I have is that,
I have one more.
you do? Okay, well, you can go after me. Is this, I'm a parent of kids in this school. I know that there's disagreement and conversations that go on with this board, and I think that that's healthy. I think that's how we find the best option and the best plan. I know that the public does not agree with everything that we're doing, and I know that it's impossible. I do want to reiterate that, but I can guarantee you this board as a whole, I feel that I could say, has the best interest of this district at heart and are trying to make the best decisions with that as number one. I feel confident saying that. So we as Mr. Moad said, keep the comments coming in, keep things rolling. There could be stones that we haven't overturned. It's ideas. And we'll just continue to strive to get through this together as one. And I know Dr. Perry had said that we have to come together and make this the best going into it positive. So with that, Dr. Perry.
It's just on a lighter note. I got to thank Colleen for putting up with me, because between her and my wife, nobody gets the brunt of this more than they do. So I'm sorry and thank you. That's all I got.
All right, on that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Mr. Moad, second by the rest of the board. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.